Hey everybody, so on the bench for December 2009, got a few things going on. First thing I did was to review the last year's worth of benches. It was 12 months ago and a couple weeks that I did my first one, and the models I was working on then and what I'm working now have totally changed. Some of them finished up from a year ago this month, some of them have not. As of now, I've completed 7 models this year, which is a little behind the average, but they were far more complex than anything I've ever done before. And with these on the bench here, I'm looking at finishing 13 to 15 of them this year, if I can crank these in the next month or so. The only thing that can stop me is all the overtime we got coming up at work over the next 3 weeks. So, what we got going on here is a putty and paint session. The models should be fairly obvious. You've seen them for a while now, but not in a while. I'm thinking I may start with the Cylon here because that's going to have the easiest putty job, and the Romulan, the Star Destroyer, well, we'll see how it goes. All of them are fairly easy as far as the putty is, and once I get into the painting, well, that's when I finally get to bring this guy out, and oh yeah, there's the air compressor way down there out of sight. So I'm going to have to drag that out as well. But I'm really going to enjoy that. That'll be my first airbrushing videos that I've done since I started recording, really. And, well, you know, give me a second here to unpack a couple things and move a couple other around. So, it's a fairly standard air compressor overall. It gets up to 80 psi, which is far more than any artist will ever need for their models. What I really need for this is a pressure regulator. It doesn't have one right now, but the moisture trap is something that is essential if you get one yourself. So it typically tops out around 15 to 17 psi. The pressure regulator would let me bring that down to 12 up to 30, which would be really ideal. So as you can probably see, it's fairly well used, the airbrush here, and I just haven't shot any videos with it. Not yet, at least. So this usually sits on the ground down there, and it's got an old shoe to sit down on because it's fairly loud, so it's not something I can really use at night at all. However, if I can pop over here real quick, this huge air tank in there, if I finally remember to bring that to the gas station to fill up, that'll hold 100-something gallons of air. So hopefully I'll use that totally silent. I'll do another video of that later. The other thing I'm going to show off here is that in the old days when I was airbrushing, I used an old microwave oven box. So I eventually got tired of that and I built this. Well, I am building this still. And what this is basically a collapsible paint box. Well, we'll just put that wall down there for the moment and let me back out here real quick. So it still needs a roof. And when I get that going, basically this area here will be the outlet for the air, which goes to the fan over there, and so on and so forth. So the roof will definitely be a helpful thing. I just got to get another sheet. Well, I suppose I could use a sheet of just styrene or cardboard or whatever. It's really useful for the collapsibility of it, as you can probably tell. It's just basically a few different screw hinges, all organized so everything folds flat. That one goes first. This one is hinged properly so it lays flat there. And then of course those hinges and buttresses there allow that to go down flat. The whole thing's maybe 1.5 inches thick, and that's it. It packs away really nice. So I'm looking forward to using that. And what else is there to talk about? We got all the models up there in line. Airbrush. Let's go take a look at the green screen real quick. I'm having a little trouble with the exposure balance here, but let's just stick with it and what we got now. So I got some train tracks. Basically, the idea, well, first of all, for models, you really don't want to put them on a track at all, because basically when you've got your light source at one point and you roll the model past it, the light's going to change on it, unless you have your light attached to the model somehow. So necessarily on the table here isn't going to be all that useful, but in some cases rolling the model down the track here is going to be really great. This is, for those who don't know railroading, this is O gauge here, this is G gauge. This will fit inside of this distance here. So with the wheels I've got on my tripod, they fit pretty well on this track. What I'm thinking about doing is some other modifier for this stuff here. So I'll use the O gauge on the table and then lay the G on the ground. I got to get some curved sections, and there's a fair amount of space here that can be used for this. I got to do tests. The other thing I can do is pull this wall down because the wrinkles are no good, and I've got this next step here, which is green felt. So I'm going to see how this looks, and if this and the cloth there don't work, I'm going back to the good old cardboard, poster board. So I'll definitely let you know how these train experiments go. It should work out pretty well. I'm certainly not the first person to think of this trick, and probably won't be the last either. However, I'll definitely film all the experiments and let you know how that goes. So far, this is fairly expensive. I think just here and, well, looking at here with a couple tracks, yeah, this is all the G gauge I've got right now. So there's like $60, $70 just worth of track alone, but these wheels here were $10 each. So there's 40 bucks in wheels right there. So if you go for train tracks on your tripod, it's definitely going to get expensive fast, but it's one upfront cost. And as the phone is ringing right now and I'm pretty much finished, I'll just say, see ya.